Knock knock. In this film, we see Evan, who stays home to finish some work while his family goes on vacation. However, things go a little sideways as two girls show up at his doorstep. We aren't used to seeing Keanu as a victim, but that'll change. The movie begins with Evan and his wife Karen engaging in some intimate moments in bed, interrupted by their children, Jake and Lisa, who surprise Evan with homemade Father's Day gifts. Playfully scaring them off, Evan returns to find Karen no longer in the mood. They head to the kitchen for breakfast when Karen's manager, Louis, arrives. He plans to pick up Karen's artwork for an upcoming auction. Later, as Karen and the kids prepare for a beach trip, Evan stays behind to work with his dog, Monkey. Immersed in his tasks and rocking out to Detroit Rock City, Evan hears a knock at the door. He answers to find Belle and Genesis, two unexpected visitors. After knocking on Evan's door and explaining they're looking for the Gregorys, who they were supposed to meet at a party, Belle and Genesis find themselves in need of help with no working phone. Evan kindly invites them in, offering the use of his tablet to contact their friend on Facebook for the correct address. Inside, he helps dry their wet clothes, offers robes, and prepares tea, trying to be hospitable. As they chat, Belle and Genesis become uncomfortably open about their personal lives and start making advances towards Evan, which he finds unsettling. Feeling awkward, Evan arranges an Uber for them, eager for their departure. While Evan is distracted by notifications, Belle pulls him into a dance, almost kissing him before the Uber arrives. Relieved, Evan tries to hurry them along, but finds them unexpectedly taking a shower when he checks on them. In the bathroom, Evan accidentally sees them naked, and despite his attempts to resist, they seduce him into joining them. They engage in intimate activities until the Uber finally departs. Waking up the next morning, Evan hopes it was all just a dream. Evan returns home to find the girls eating food in his kitchen. He tries to get them to leave, but gets interrupted by a FaceTime call from Karen. Evan goes outside to take the call, with the girls following and messing with him. After the call, Evan aggressively demands the girls leave, but they reveal they are only 15 years old, causing Evan to feel sick. The girls refuse Evan's offer of money. Evan's physical therapist Vivian arrives and misunderstands the situation, thinking Evan is cheating on his wife. Genesis continues to annoy Evan, who then grabs her by the throat in anger, but she stabs him with a fork, causing him to pass out. When Evan regains consciousness, he is tied to a chair as the girls dress up in his and his wife's clothes. They then begin asking Evan a series of inappropriate and brutal questions, threatening to blast loud noises through headphones if he answers incorrectly. Evan mostly refuses to respond, enduring the painful noise as punishment. The girls' disturbing behavior and the violation of Evan's personal space and safety create an extremely tense and unsettling situation. Their actions demonstrate a complete disregard for Evan's well-being and consent. This scenario depicts a severe abuse of power and a violation of personal boundaries that no person should have to endure. There's a knock at the door. Louis arrives, and Genesis quickly takes Evan's phone, texting Louis that his nieces will handle the door since Evan isn't available. They greet Louis and invite him inside. Louis searches for Karen's sculpture to prepare it for auction, but discovers it covered in drawings. Enraged, he confronts the girls, realizing they aren't Evan's relatives. As he yells at them, he runs out of breath, and they offer him his inhaler. Meanwhile, Evan's muffled noises alert Louis to his location. As Louis begins untying Evan, they hear the girls breaking the sculpture. Louis rushes back to protect it, but without his inhaler, he struggles to keep up with the girls. They taunt him by tossing the inhaler back and forth until Louis trips and hits his head on the sculpture, fatally injuring himself. Evan panics as the girls laugh callously. They tie him up again and use Louis's death to frame Evan, sending a threatening text from his phone to Louis. Now they plan to execute Evan at dawn the next day, resuming their sadistic game. Evan, outraged and pleading for his life, vehemently protests against the girls' plan to bury him alive. Despite his desperate pleas and claims of being a good father who made a mistake, the girls remain unmoved. They proceed to dig Evan's grave, destroying everything in the house in their frenzy. Among the wreckage, they discover a gun, which they wield to enforce their control over Evan. Deciding to play a twisted game of hide and seek, they warn Evan that attempting to escape will result in his immediate execution. Reluctantly agreeing, Evan is untied but grabs a kitchen knife as he flees to hide. As the girls finish counting and begin searching, Evan attempts to sneak out through the front door but is caught when Genesis hears him. Tripping over a dolly, he finds himself at gunpoint once more. The scene transitions to the next morning with Evan bound and gagged, his fate sealed as the girls roll him into the open grave they've dug. Panicking and begging for mercy, Evan's pleas fall on deaf ears. The girls prepare to crush him with a heavy tombstone, counting down ominously as Evan's terror escalates. In a last-ditch effort to survive, Evan struggles frantically, but the countdown concludes with Genesis striking the tombstone beside his head, sealing his fate. The girls burst into laughter, revealing their twisted motive. They've targeted many married men who cheat, regardless of their claims of love for their families. They taunt Evan that they won't kill him, opting instead to humiliate him. Seizing his phone, they upload a video of him and Belle engaging in explicit acts to his Facebook profile, ensuring everyone sees it. With a final goodbye, they depart. Shortly after, Karen and the children return to find the house in disarray. The screen fades to black, marking the unsettling end of the movie.